Oh my god, it's finally out. Not even delays or me having to be stuck at home could stop us, because Elden Ring is finally out and we got to play it. Spoiler alert, it's lovely. You couldn't even imagine it. Gamer Braves. What's up, guys? This is Juan Amaral from Gamer Braves, resident Souls addict nervously scratching his arm for that next hit of Miyazaki's Berserk fanfiction. Today we're gonna be taking a look at the man, the myth, the legend, Elden Ring. From Software's whole genre of gothic fantasy RPGs are like a masterclass of level design, because rather than give you such frivolous things like randomly generated loot, the game trades in the satisfaction of doing a job well done. Elden Ring, in turn, is proof that From Software knows exactly what their little junkies want. Because even though the game has made the jump to open world, it still feels good. It still has all the highs that you would get from playing a Souls game. It's like going to Paris only to order Le Big Mac. You would have thought being in Paris would have made a Big Mac taste different, but it didn't. And for some reason, you've gone to Paris and chosen to go to a McDonald's, so of course you want the same experience you're gonna get anywhere else. Probably the most impressive thing with Elden Ring is that open world. Now, regular viewers of the channel might know that I am not exactly the biggest fan of open worlds. I think too many games focus on being size queens about their map and are too busy bragging about how you're going to have to walk 3 kilometers on foot to get to the next town to realize that walking 3 kilometers is actually boring as heck. I think the only thing worse than a boring open world map is a patronizing one. Games like Genshin Impact love to do this by having treasure chests hidden all along the map, and they'd be like, oh yeah, see, there's always something to do. It's insulting, really, but a lot of people seem to like it, which is why a lot of open world games do this. However, Elden Ring doesn't do this. From Software knows why you're playing these games. You want to do something satisfying. Opening a box is not satisfying. You know what is satisfying? I absolutely love that. Souls games are fun because From Software makes interesting encounters. It's not enough for you to say, I went to this field and I saw a dragon. No, you wanna kill the dragon, or try, and then get sad and leave. It's generally a taboo topic in some Soul circles, but this game very much feels like the successor to Dark Souls 2, because it has that same core philosophy of walk in any direction and you're going to find a boss, and chances are it's optional. That being said, the game also has its standard enclosed dungeons, which is like your typical Souls game. Look, there's a reason why Anyway Here's Wonderwall is a thing. FromSoft know what they're good at, and watching them do the thing that they're good at is why we're here. These levels are all great. Like, I don't know what to tell you. If you haven't already played a Souls game, then, you know, be prepared for some really fun but punishing encounters. Did you learn the trick of this level? No? Are you brave enough to run through it anyways? Yeah, congratulations, you're playing one of the best genres of video games that's come out in like the past decade. On the combat side though, if you're coming from Bloodborne, expect to feel a little bit of a road bump when it comes to Elden Ring. Elden Ring is much slower than Bloodborne. In fact, I would go so far as to once again push it more towards the Dark Souls 2 side. It is slower, but that does not necessarily mean it is easier. Instead, they've just changed what the challenge is. It's not about being able to react to a British man swinging a stick wildly as he yells at you for breaking quarantine. It's now about your ability to understand what every single move an enemy has and what you should do against it. If this were rock, paper, scissors, it's not about being able to change your answer as soon as you see what your opponent's going to do. It's about knowing that your opponent's an idiot who's always going to choose rock and doing the proper thing against that, not telling him that he's doing that. There's also the new mounted combat, which I'm not a fan of, but I can agree is the best it's going to get in this game. Like, I'm absolutely glad that it's there, because it's fun. The problem is, to me, Dark Souls is about throwing up your shield and circling around like it's summer 2020 and you've just gone out to Tesco's and found someone else on the street. Instead, with the horse, you are dashing around and constantly moving, and I can see a lot of people getting uncomfortable with that because you move quite fast. That being said, the moves are very satisfying to do when they hit, and some bosses especially are very fun. Actually, let's talk about the boss fights as well. The boss fights carry this overall spirit of the combat design into the game. They are, without being too fast, still incredibly challenging. It's about knowing their movesets. They have a lot of clever things like mix-ups and delays. It feels like you're playing grand finals, or in my case, pools. There's also a lot of things that I didn't expect to make it into this game, like the guard counter mechanic. How this works is that anytime you block an attack, you can hit the heavy attack after to do a much faster heavy attack. It comes out as a counter and does the same amount of damage as your regular heavy attack, which makes it really good. I mentioned this in our last preview as well, about how much I liked it, and I kind of wish I hadn't done that, because they have nerfed it incredibly for this build. In the final build of the game, they have made it so that two-handed weapons no longer have armor, which means that you can now be interrupted if you're trying to guard counter. Meanwhile, enemies themselves seem to actively bait out the guard counters, and will often have a second faster follow-up attack to catch you while you're trying to guard counter. Again, I didn't expect to find frame traps in Elden Ring, but here they are. The other thing I didn't expect to find was power stancing. This is another Dark Souls 2 thing that I didn't think I'd see here. Basically, just have two of any weapon and have them equipped at the same time, and you get a new moveset where you dual wield them. The last thing is the Ash summons. These are like summons that let you pull up enemy NPCs. They're really good because they have all the characteristics of the NPC that you're summoning, which means that the undead guys can come back indefinitely as long as they're not attacked while they're down. I mean, sure, I can go this adventure alone, but having the support of Bone Thugs and Harmony as my meat shield is freaking great. The game definitely has its gripes, but they are all so tiny that I feel like a bully for bringing them up. For example, I don't know why weight load is tied to endurance. Endurance is a terrible stat in every Souls game. Not so much because it's bad, but because it is the lowest priority. People don't mind having less attacks if their one attack does like a thermonuclear bomb. So the idea that I have to level up my endurance if I want to play Fashion Souls and still be able to roll is kind of a bummer. My other complaint of the game is also something that I love about the Souls series. It's that this game does not tell you jack. You have to figure things out on your own, and that includes the NPC quests. There's no way to track your progress with every single one, so I hope you remembered what Totally Not Guts last said to you before he left, because I sure didn't, and now I just have a rough inkling and I'm just figuring out where he might be. Seriously though, as one of the card-carrying hollows who are waiting for Elden Ring, I'm incredibly satisfied with what we got. The open world feels good because it doesn't buck to the trends of many other open world games of just wanting a big field with 100 hours, to get those big headlines. Instead, it remembers what people like Souls games for, and makes sure that you have a way to get that isn't cheap. You still have to be good at the game. You still have to spend a whole day trying to figure out how to kill Godric the Grafted, but it still feels good to do it, even if there's more small experiences all around the map. My main complaint I can see some people having for the game is that it doesn't change the Souls series enough. A lot of people said this basically just feels like Dark Souls 4, which it kind of does, but here's the secret. That's what we wanted in the first place. If you're all aboard the idea of what is essentially the next step up in the Soulsborne ladder, congratulations! You got it, and it's lovely. Elden Ring gets a 9.5 out of 10 from us. It's available on February 25th on PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, as well as their last-gen counterparts. This has been Juan Amiral from Gamer Braves. Praise the sun, lads. Elden Ring's out. Hey there! Thank you so much for watching our videos. Don't forget to give us a subscribe if you'd like to see more, and like so we know what kind of content you want to see. Got suggestions for new content? Let us know in the comments below too. Thank you so much again for watching. Take care, dudes.